Previously, I did a video about Thai final consonants. This video is about Thai initial consonants. I'm not going to go through the sound of every individual consonant. I've done that on previous tutorials, so you just need to look elsewhere on the channel if you want that information. I'm going to go through some other aspects of initial consonants. And what you might notice first is that there are quite a few of them. There's actually 44. And one of the excuses used by lazy expats who don't want to learn to read is that there are too many consonants and too many vowels. You know, they say all English has 21 consonants and 5 vowels. Thai's got 44 consonants, and I can't remember how many vowels, but quite a lot of vowels and vowel combinations. But it's really a lazy excuse. With the consonants, 2 are obsolete, these 2 K consonants. So there used to be 5 K consonants, now there are only 3. And a lot of these consonants you very rarely see. These 2 here, these 3 here. I've been reading Thai for a long time, and when I do occasionally come across these consonants, it gives me problems. They just appear so infrequently. So there are quite a lot, but it's not as bad as you think. Written Thai is actually far superior to written English. Yes, English just has 5 written vowels, but there are a lot more vowel sounds, and different vowel sounds use the same vowel, which must be terribly confusing to non-English speakers learning English. It's much easier for an English speaker to learn Thai. So but and put, where the U makes a different vowel sound. The double O in foot makes an U sound, and in food makes an U sound. In Thai, there are 2 separate vowels for each of those sounds. This letter combination, OUGH, used in lots of words and makes lots of different sounds. Very confusing. When I teach my son English, I try to do it phonetically. So I might teach him that B-A-R is bar, then ask him what C-A-R, and he'll say car, F-A-R, far. We get to W, it should be wa, but it's not, it's war. Wind and wind. The C in cat makes a K sound, in ceiling makes an S sound, and in cello makes a CH sound. The G in gorilla is a different sound to the G in giraffe. The TH consonant cluster in this is different to the TH in thin. English is just very, very confusing. Yes, there are a few inconsistencies in Thai, but generally it's a lot more consistent. The reason that Thai has so many consonants and so many duplicate consonants is because it's a tonal language, and the class of the initial consonant plays an important role with the tone rules. So for example, these 2 consonants here make a P sound, but this one's high class and this one's low class. But there is still some redundancy. For example, these 3 consonants here all make S sounds and they're all high class. So really, 2 are redundant. And I guess this goes back to the origins of the language, coming from Khmer and Pali and Sanskrit, that maybe once upon a time they made different sounds, but they've all ended up making the same sound and they all have the higher class. But as I said before, some consonants are used a lot more commonly than others. So you'll see this one, so a lot more than you'll see these 2. And once you've been reading Thai for a while, you soon get used to it, so it's not that difficult. You also need to keep an eye on consonant clusters. This word here, quam, this is what turns verbs into nouns in Thai as a prefix. And the first 2 consonants are KW, and they're a consonant cluster, so this is pronounced quam. Now this word, it's an English word that's been transliterated into Thai. And there's often problems with transliteration from English to Thai, Thai to English. So this S and this kind of unaspirated T are not a consonant cluster. So what you need to do is to put an implied vowel in between. So it might be sticker in English, but the Thai pronunciation with that implied vowel is satika. This one here, the first two consonants make like a T sound and an R sound, but together they actually make an S sound. Now I know it sounds weird, but it's probably no weirder than a P and an H together in English making an F sound. So we have a long R vowel and a Y consonant at the end. This word says sigh, like a say long vowel, and it means sand. But there's a problem, as I say, with transliteration, and this word at the bottom is an English word. It's a travel, and it's been transliterated into Thai. And with the transliteration, there's no real sort of thought process. There's no thinking about the phonetics or any other considerations. They just do it letter by letter. So travel, T they replace with Torsahan, and R with Rua. And as I said, normally with Thai, those two consonants would make an S, but because it's a transliterated word, it makes a TR sound. So you've got the same two consonants in two words, but they make different sounds. But this is quite unusual, and it's all to do with transliteration again. I have no formal training in linguistics or the vocabulary related to linguistics, so I'll try to describe this the best way I can. Some consonants have like an aspirated sound and a non-aspirated sound. And maybe the easiest way to describe this is if you put the palm of your hand just in front of your mouth and say a word that has an aspirated consonant, you can feel a puff of air on your hand. And if it's not aspirated, you don't feel that puff of air. So it applies to T, P and K consonants. And I'll give you a few examples. So if you put your hand to your mouth and say take, you can feel that puff of air because the T is aspirated. But if you say sister, then the T in the second syllable isn't the same sound as this word. It's sort of in between a D and a T. Now, with English, we just use one consonant, T, for aspirated and non-aspirated sounds. With Thai, they have consonants for the non-aspirated sounds, which is really good. You know, English should have two, but it doesn't. As I said before, written Thai is far superior to written English. And as an example for P, so put, again, you can feel that puff of air. If you say super, you can't feel it. That sounds like sort of in between a B and a P. And the same with kick. You feel the puff of air. Whisker, that second syllable is like a sort of hard G sound, like in goat or gorilla. And here are the Thai consonants for the non-aspirated consonants. Now, transliteration again, it just makes this really confusing. Because if I have to transliterate myself, and I have to transliterate like a non-aspirated T, I will use DT. And same with, you know, a non-aspirated P, BP, and a non-aspirated K, I'll just use a G. With the transliteration system, whoever devised it, they decided that the aspirated sounds would have an H as well. So you'd have TH, PH, and KH. Now, the problem with that is that for English speakers, TH is not an aspirated T. It makes a completely different sound, you know, like in this or then or that. PH isn't an aspirated P. It makes an F sound. And KH, as far as I'm concerned, there's no difference between K and KH. And the only word I can think of that begins with KH is khaki. Khaki, there's two syllables and they as far as I'm concerned, both syllables start with the same letter. This system of transliteration causes enormous problems for English speakers. I don't think it's quite the same for people from mainland Europe because their languages work a bit differently. I'll give an example in a minute. But for English speakers, it's really confusing, and it confused the hell out of me when I first started to learn to read Thai. Now, this word here, it's actually a place name. This is the part of Thailand just on the opposite side of the river to Bangkok. And it's Thonburi with an aspirated T. But the transliteration system puts it TH for aspirated T's. And I've actually heard a Lonely Planet podcaster call it Thonburi. You know, like Lonely Planet, an organisation who should know a lot about travel, and they can't pronounce it correctly. In Hat Yai, there's a very famous market called Gim Yong. But because of the transliteration system, it's transliterated as Kim Yong. But, you know, so when I first got to Hat Yai, I would see this written in English as Kim Yong. But when I heard people say the name, it was obviously Gim Yong. And I couldn't make out why they were using a K, but this is the reason why. And Phuket. Okay, so again, the aspirated P is written PH, which to English speakers means F. And in the 80s, when Brits started to hear about Phuket in Thailand, they thought it was pronounced in a completely different way and found the pronunciation hilarious. Regarding what I was saying about this being confusing for English speakers but not for mainland Europeans, in a lot of mainland European languages, the TH does in fact make an aspirated T, but in English it doesn't. TH is a completely different sound. And if you think about the young girl climate activist who never goes to school, I believe her surname is Thunberg with an aspirated T, but it's written TH. So you'll find a lot of Brits will pronounce it Thunberg. So this confusion seems to be unique to English speakers. This confusing aspect of transliteration gave me some major problems a few years ago. Before I got married, I had to go to the British Embassy in Bangkok to get an affirmation to marry. And that document was in English, and I had to get it translated into Thai. And I went to a shop to get this done, and they asked me how I transliterated my surname. And I wasn't sure. So because I sort of understand a bit about written Thai, I thought about my name, and it's got a couple of T's in it, which are non-aspirated. So I used Tonal, which is phonetically correct. But with the standard transliteration system, which is very poor, when Thais see an English T, they just transliterate it to Tahan. So what I ended up with is various documents that had my name transliterated in a different way. And Thais really don't like that. They're very strict about bureaucracy. And if they see any inconsistencies, it raises a big red flag. So then I had to go through a very long process of getting all the documents so they matched, and my surname was transliterated into Thai the same way on every document. I hope you got something useful out of that. If you have any comments, questions or other feedback, please leave them below, and there'll be more videos soon. And just a quick reminder that I've made some changes recently, and on this channel I'll just be doing content on the Thai language, and for other things related to Thailand but not language, I'll be using another channel, and I'll give a link below. So thank you for watching.